It's almost impossible to deny that this is a tunnel.
We want to believe that perhaps it's wood from the original money pit.
We found the money pit.
Something just came out of the money pit that has the Oak Island team treating this dig very differently than any before it. 2 results back to back. Recent drilling uncovered stacked timbers that point to a hidden structure in the money pit, and new tests found traces of silver in the soil and water. These 2 breakthroughs changed the whole vibe of the project. On its own, either find could be explained away. Together, they're harder to dismiss.
Find the orientation of the Shaft 2 tunnel. We should be very, very close to the original money pit.
And for the first time in a long time, what's coming up from the money pit feels less like routine drilling and more like the outline of something deliberately built, deliberately hidden, and possibly still intact. Evidence beyond treasure. Recent events in the search area have pushed the team into a brand new phase of the investigation. For a long time, the focus was on finding small artifacts, but the newest money pit evidence is much bigger than a single coin. During the recent push in Season 13, specifically around the time of the episode titled Testing Their Metal, something massive happened. The team began seeing what many can confirm is an astonishing silver lining in the mud. For starters, the drill results started showing traces of silver at depths that were previously thought to be empty. But here's the catch. It wasn't just the metal that got people talking. The team also pulled up evidence of stacked timbers. See, in a place like the money pit, wood isn't just wood. If you find one piece of timber, it could be anything. If you find beautifully stacked timbers, you've found a shaft. This discovery happened in a very specific spot that the team is now calling a possible second money pit.
You know, we're trying to follow this tunnel, look for the money pit. We just got in drill in C4.5. It did hit tunnel.
Okay.
It is one of the most overlooked aspects of this entire hunt because everyone wants to see the gold right away. Hands down, finding this structure is more important than finding a few loose items. The data suggests that these timbers are part of a vertical structure that was built with intent. Nobody expected this to happen after so many years of drilling empty holes, but the silver traces changed the energy of the whole operation. It's not that simple though, because the water levels in that area make every inch of progress a battle. The team had to use heavy cans to stabilize the ground just to get a clear look at what the drills were hitting. When the results came back, the high levels of silver in the soil samples suggested that something significant is sitting just a few feet away from where they were originally looking. It is a key detail that suggests the treasure isn't just one pile of gold, but perhaps a larger deposit. The team has been using high-tech tools to scan the water inside the boreholes, and the silver counts are off the charts compared to previous years. This isn't just a rumor on the air. It is backed up by laboratory testing that shows clear metallic signatures. When you combine that with the stacked timbers, the picture becomes a lot clearer. These timbers appear to be part of a cribbing system, which is what the original builders used to keep the tunnels from collapsing under the pressure of the earth. If these timbers are still in place, it means the structure is still intact. Many are not seeing the truth here because they are focused on the headline of gold, but the real value is in the location. This new cluster of evidence is sitting in a zone that was previously ignored.
It's BC4, and hopefully it gives us more information on this tunnel leading in this direction.
The search is finally getting more precise because the team is no longer just guessing. They are following the trail of silver and wood deep into the earth. It is a moment that made the latest search feel completely different from the routine work they have been doing for years. This evidence suggests a much larger secret is buried under the island than anyone first realized. The team's excitement is at an all-time high because the data is finally matching the legends. Targeted exploration hits. Focusing on the specific location of these finds is what will lead to the ultimate goal. The recent cluster of evidence came during a renewed push in Season 13, especially around Episode 13 and Episode 14. These episodes showed the team narrowing their focus to a very tight grid. One of the most important moments was when the team interpreted the stacked timbers as the edge of a shaft rather than just random buried material. This is a big deal because a man-made shaft is exactly what the search has been trying to isolate for over 200 years. A lot of people are confused about why they are still drilling in the same general area. But the truth is that the money pit is like a giant maze. You can be 6 inches away from a tunnel and never know it. The latest evidence suggests they have finally hit the wall of one of those tunnels. By mapping the depth of the stacked wood, which appeared at approximately 160 feet, the team can now plot the exact angle of the shaft. This allows them to predict where the next piece of the puzzle should be. The silver lining mentioned in the episode titles refers to the high concentration of silver ions found in the water. This is not just a fluke. It is a consistent reading that has been verified multiple times. It is a key detail because silver is often found alongside other precious metals like gold. If there is a massive amount of silver being detected, it means there is a source nearby that is slowly breaking down into the groundwater. The team is now chasing that source by moving the big digging equipment into a tighter formation around the borehole. But the mystery goes even deeper when you look at how the timbers were found. They weren't just tossed in the ground, they were placed there by human hands to serve a purpose. This confirms that there were engineered underground works happening on the island long before the first searchers arrived in 1795. Everyone's obsessed with the idea of a simple pit, but the evidence is showing a complex network of shafts and tunnels. It is not that simple to just dig it up, though, because of the flood tunnels that protect the area. Basically, the team is using the silver results as a compass. Every time they find a high reading, they know they are getting warmer. The stacked timbers act as the physical proof that they are in a location where someone was once very active. This narrows the target area from several acres down to a few dozen square feet. That kind of precision is what has been missing for most of the island's history.
And that was the hope. It was always the hope that it would lead to a location where we could do some exploratory drilling or digging and hopefully find the one thing.
The search is no longer a wide-ranging hunt. It is a surgical operation focused on a possible second money pit. The team is now preparing to sink a much larger shaft in this exact spot to see what lies beneath. Building hidden tunnels. Understanding why the team treated this wood as a massive win requires a look at the history of the search. In the past, searchers found plenty of wood, but most of it was from previous failed attempts to find the treasure. But here's the catch. The timbers found recently do not look like they belong to any known searcher shaft. They are deeper and positioned in a way that suggests they are part of the original construction. This is the holy grail of evidence for the team because it proves they aren't just digging through old trash. The timbers were described as being beautifully stacked, which implies a high level of craftsmanship. This matches the theories that a military or highly organized group was responsible for the original work. When you find evidence of a man-made shaft at 160 feet deep, you are looking at an engineering marvel. The pressure at that depth is immense, and keeping a shaft open would require massive amounts of support. The fact that these timbers are still there tells us that the builders knew exactly what they were doing. Many are not seeing the truth here because they think the wood is the prize. The wood is just the container. The real prize is what is inside the shaft that the wood is protecting. The silver signatures found in the same area suggest that whatever is inside is starting to leak its metallic signature into the environment. It is one of the most overlooked aspects of the search that the Earth itself is telling the team where to look. By analyzing the soil and water, they are reading the history of the island's secrets. The crazy part is that this shaft might be a diversion. Some theories suggest that the original builders created multiple shafts to confuse anyone who tried to find the treasure later. Finding a second money pit would confirm that the island is much more complicated than a single hole in the ground. It suggests a massive underground vault system that could hold much more than just gold coins. It could hold historical records, religious artifacts, or the secrets of a lost empire. This evidence strengthens the case for continued drilling because it shows the team is on the right track. The team won't stop until they know for sure what those timbers are protecting. They are using every tool at their disposal, from ground-penetrating radar to deep-sea cameras, to see through the mud and water.
We know the water samples are indicating presence of gold. Well, certainly the wood should as well.
The goal is to find the entrance to the vault without triggering the flood tunnels that have stopped every searcher for 2 centuries. This isn't just a hunt anymore. It is an investigation into the greatest engineering mystery in North America. The evidence is pointing toward a massive reveal that could happen at any moment. Every piece of wood they pull up is a clue that brings them closer to the builder's original plan. Interpreting underground clues. Clarifying the grounded interpretation of this evidence is necessary to understand the real meaning of the search. The silver result and the shaft-like timber pattern do not prove that treasure has been found yet. It is important to stay focused on what the data actually says. The real meaning isn't instant treasure confirmation, it is that the search is finally getting more precise. For years, the team was like a blind man in a dark room, but now they have a flashlight. The silver signatures are the light, and the timbers are the walls of the room. The scientific approach being taken by Rick and Marty Lagina is what sets this search apart from all others. They aren't just following legends, they are following data. The high concentration of silver in the water is a physical fact that cannot be ignored. While many can confirm there is a mystery, science is what will solve it. The search is no longer about luck. It is about narrowing down the possibilities until only the truth remains. This shift from speculation to data-driven exploration is one of the most significant changes in the history of the island. A lot of people are confused about why they haven't just dug a giant hole over the whole area. The problem is the water and the unstable soil. If you dig too fast or too wide, the whole thing collapses. That is why the precision of the current drilling is so important. By finding the stacked timbers, they have found a solid point in the chaos. They can use that point to anchor their next steps. This evidence suggests that the team is finally intersecting engineered underground features that were designed to be found only by someone who knew exactly where to look. The real meaning of the silver is that it acts as a marker for high-value targets. Gold is much harder to detect in water than silver, so the silver is acting as a proxy for the treasure. If there is this much silver, there is a high probability of gold being nearby. This is a key detail that keeps the investors and the fans invested in the project. It shows that the team isn't just digging for the sake of digging. They are following a trail of breadcrumbs that was left behind centuries ago by the original architects of the money pit. Everyone's obsessed with the idea of a single chest of gold, but the data suggests something much larger. The scale of the engineering required to build these shafts is so massive that it only makes sense if the treasure is equally massive. The search is currently at a tipping point where the technology is finally catching up to the mystery. The latest evidence is the most supportable takeaway yet, showing that the team is no longer just guessing where the shafts are. They are standing right on top of them. The next phase of the search is going to be the most intense one yet as they move from drilling to recovery. Looking forward, the fan reaction and the team's next moves are going to define the future of the island. Viewers may hear the word silver and think the mystery is solved, but the truth is that the hard work is just beginning. The new evidence strengthens the case for deeper testing and tighter target selection. It is not about a quick win, it is about a long-term commitment to the truth. The real meaning of the latest evidence is that it gives the team a reason to keep going when things get tough. Could these stacked timbers be the wall protecting a treasure worth billions, or is it just another decoy? Tell us your theory in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe to stay updated. Now go watch our breakdown of the secret flood tunnels to see the traps they built. Are we chasing a treasure that's already gone?